Alright, we're looking at a green ash in Neenah, Wisconsin here. This is August of 2011. This tree was planted as a small tree in 1963, so it's about a 48-year-old tree. I haven't measured it recently in terms of its diameter, but it's pretty sizable here. So I just want to show the roots on this and talk a smidge about root care and mulching on a older, larger tree. If you look at these roots on here, look closely in here, you can see actually where this had some bushes growing around it that I excavated a few years ago that were girdling the tree. We can see right in there and there. They were working their way into, and they were choking these off, and they were growing actually tight into the tree in multiple spots, like right in there. I think these are some, yeah, there's some old dead roots still that I didn't quite get out. So you can plant a circle of bushes around your tree, and I think it looks totally harmless and out plenty far from the tree, but in 30 years you may kill the tree with it. So also, you notice the lines up there above where I just showed you, a few inches higher. That's approximately where dirt was placed too on this tree, where everything was buried. You can kind of tell the difference in the color of the bark. Let me get over here. Now ignore that spot right there because I had just thrown mulch here a few days ago, and that's why that's wet. Right up into, I would say we were buried into about here. Previously would have been about the level that this was at. This was probably barely exposed. You know, just kind of just up in there. And again, on top of that was all wrapped by bushes here. Okay, here this gives you a much cleaner view here. You can see where it's discolored down there. Bark looks a little different. That was all buried. So right a little bit above that was, or right about where the ground level was at. So it was definitely on the high side. It's excavated a lot lower than what you're looking at with mulch here. There's a good 3 to 4 inches of mulch on top of the ground. With a tree this size, don't be afraid of having the roots exposed. You can't see it real well because it's not. There was, again, a little bit of mulch was piled on top of it, and a little bit of extra mulch out around the roots and stuff on a tree of this age for a little while. It's not going to do anything. But you have to be a little more careful with younger trees, and you still don't want to have it piled up against the tree here. So basically this is what you're looking at, just to have the root flare exposed like this. You can have some of those roots exposed, coming out from around the tree. You want to see this. You want to see this shape. You don't want to see the telephone pole going into the ground. You want to have these roots coming out at an angle. That's what you should always see on a tree of any age, that you have those coming out. But basically, if you need to excavate a tree like this, if you have one that's buried too deep, basically, unless you have access to an air spade and you do that kind of work, or you want to pay somebody about $1,000 to come in and do it, the best way to do it yourself is really with a hose and a lot of water and manual labor. So basically getting the area completely saturated and then working out by hand all the excess topsoil, the sod, and rocks, anything else, any mulch that's in there, get that all worked away, get roots cut away that are up against the trunk. If there are any girdling roots in there, you may have to cut those out or chisel those out. And like I said, don't be afraid to go a little bit on the deep side. All these roots, like I said, all the way out for basically the whole distance of this bed around here, they were excavated around those roots, so those are really exposed, coming out the distance, pretty far in this bed. And then that was backfilled with this mulch that has a lot of organic components, shredded leaves and stuff in it, so it provides nutrients to to the tree here. So You can see again here where the tree is, the roots are flaring out there. And just a quick overview of this tree so you can get the size. After I did this root excavation 2 years ago, this tree made incredible changes. Basically this entire lower half that I'm focusing on now was pretty much bare. There was basically no foliage in there. So all these branches you see that we're looking at right now, pretty much everything in here is new within the last 2 years. And take a look at the crown of the tree. Canopy up there. So this is a pretty large green ash. This covers I would say more than half my backyard, and then spans into the neighbor's yard. And my backyard is a little over 130 feet at the back, so that gives you an idea of how large this is, which is a good size for a tree on a residential lot. You know, tree life is often short on residential lots due to a whole number of factors and problems. It's real common to get some of this deadwood and the green ash. Some of the stuff we're looking at right now is pretty high for me to get at, so I may have to have somebody come in and just do a little bit of limbing. But overall, I have the tree pretty clean. There's not a whole lot of deadwood in here, but that, like I said, it's real common for green ash to get that and need to be limbed out every few years. It's not a sign, not necessarily a sign of anything wrong with it at all. That was a bad cut, by the way, on there. So, all right, so that is what we're looking for in taking care of the roots and the mulch on an older, mature tree. It is still important to keep them mulched. The biggest area that you can, the larger the area you can mulch, the better. So basically, as much lawn as you can tolerate giving up, the tree's going to be happy for it. Lawn suffocates the roots. It competes for water and nutrients from the ground. It's less of an issue with these old trees, but they still certainly really appreciate having the mulch there instead of having all that grass. And then on top of the grass competing for nutrients and water, most people are spraying chemicals. They're spraying herbicides. They're putting down fertilizer and those combinations. Fertilizer and those combinations with the herbicides and stuff are likely doing more harm than good to a tree. So most of the time the older trees tolerate it, but again, it's not very good for them.